Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie here on Monday, the 22nd of April. It's Earth Day. And of course, Earth Day is every day as we live on Mother Earth. So, yes, not just one day to celebrate and think about the importance of our beautiful home planet and the Earth with all her sustenance for all living beings. And yes, we're also on day 2 of the first Earth sign in the zodiac Taurus. Happy new Taurus, especially all you Taurians by sun sign, by moon sign, by ascendant, by planets. Yes, lots of us have something in Taurus. Me too. Yeah, so what's coming up is, of course, the next full moon tomorrow. Tomorrow, the 23rd of April, we'll have the second full moon in spring. And it will be, of course, early Scorpio, early Taurus. This is, in my sense, the astrological Wesak moon. What's that all about? The Wesak moon is the full moon in May celebrated by Buddhists, by the Buddhist community, as the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing into nirvana by Gautama the Buddha. And this year, the full moon in May will be on the 21st, 22nd, let me just check again, of May. So it will be on the first degree of Sagittarius Gemini. So this year, yes, 23rd also of May. In my sense, the astrological themes that go really well with the Buddhist teachings align with Scorpio Taurus, where this full moon tomorrow will be. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about themes of suffering, human suffering, not just pain. I mean, pain not just, but pain is, a condition that needs to be acknowledged and needs to be taken care of. But what's with suffering? Suffering as in dukkha in the Buddhist terms, and that is basically a condition of, like what Eckhart Tolle called the pain body. Being attached to pain, being attached, being in the grip of it, being in unnecessary suffering, right? So that's typically mental, emotional suffering. Yes, that can be also a condition that, again, needs healing. And yet, there's a lot we can do ourselves when it's not like really in a clinical, degree. So, what would the Buddhists say as the medicine for the suffering? That has typically to do with attachment. Attachment to, as I said, the pain, attachment to addiction can be also attachment to what we want and don't have. And basically, we hear, but something else is over there, and we long for it, we desire it, our desire nature. All of that would be Taurus. Yet, being trapped in the pain would be a low vibration of Scorpio. Okay, so that is not a happy state, clearly, right? So first of all, it's all about noticing, being aware of the attachment, and then hopefully through practice, through spiritual practice, becoming more free from all this attachment. And that's where in Buddhism the eightfold path, the so-called noble eightfold path comes in, and that entails lots of practices for all various areas of life, right? Right, right relatedness, right livelihood, right wellness. So I'm just, associating something. I don't know whether it's actually called like that, but something along those lines. And then the second part would be to be aware and to acknowledge the reality of impermanence. Nothing is permanent, nothing stays anyway. That notion for something beautiful to stay, to cling to that, that can be also very Taurian. Versus the Scorpio side, again, I'm talking also about the full moon, right? The Scorpio side would want to get rid of what's painful, either get stuck in it, right? In a even kind of a masochistic way, or also wanting to get rid of it. And typically it's a dilemma, right? So you can't let go of this unhealthy habit, for example, right? That would be very Scorpio Taurus. And so again, the impermanence of it all. Nothing does stick. Nothing ever remains the same. Everything comes and goes. Everything is in constant flow. And this is what Saturn in Pisces since last year, 2023, also teaches us, right? And we have to learn a lot of lessons about that. Hopefully not the hard way, as it could be with Saturn. And so Saturn in Pisces is also spiritual teacher energy. And Mars has just passed Saturn. So there could have been a lot of drives, a lot of our ego wants and desires that had to go through this eye of the needle of Saturn to actually come out on the other side and come away with a good teaching. And so let me just show you the full moon chart for tomorrow. So the full moon will be tomorrow at 4:49 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And as you see here, the sun in early Taurus in the afternoon. Why am I saying afternoon? Because the horizontal line represents the horizon. And the sun would be still in the western horizon for quite a while before the sun will set here. Then the moon below the horizon. Later in the evening, of course, the moon will rise as the full moon, just after full moon. And you have this polarity of sun and moon. The moon, the only celestial body here on the side of the chart, except for Lilith here and somewhere, kind of halfway, it is halfway actually, to the sun is Pluto. So talk about that in a second. But the moon is here, the sun, and so to say, everything else is over there. So quite a strong imbalance actually, while a full moon always is about establishing balance, re-establishing balance. In this case, the Scorpio factor brings balance into the equation. So that can be also depth, intimacy. Could be something also that you notice how much you need it, right? With the moon needs come up for depth, for diving into something, maybe something exciting, something thrilling, something that really moves you a lot emotionally. Maybe it has already happened. And it's the polarity, Taurus and Scorpio, is the polarity of body, Taurus, and soul, Scorpio, right? So something that is not just beautiful and pleasant for the senses from the Taurus side, but really also deep and magical from the Scorpio side. So Scorpio is the deepest and darkest sign of the zodiac, sometimes really feared because of its power, of its magic, sometimes abused. The point would be to actually go into something that really moves you from your deep essence and see what happens. So there is an adventure involved in that as well. And then we have also at the same time a purging effect with Scorpio, right? So you could also experience a lot of purging of emotions, of stuck emotions, of unhealthy or unproductive emotions like jealousy, like hatred, like anything that ultimately also doesn't feel good for you. You might want to, emit that because something you feel powerless, really, right? That's typically the situation, right? You don't feel like in your power, and then all these funky emotions come up. And then what do you do with them, right? So the Scorpio moon helps to bring them, especially as a full moon, to bring them to full light of awareness and consciousness with the sun opposite, and to actually process those, right? Then we have also the Pluto, as I said, the Pluto effect. Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto is in this case, with this full moon specifically, in T square with the full moon axis. So I'll show you again. So here's the sun and the moon, full moon axis, and Pluto right between them, right? This is called a T square. T square is a lot of tension. There's already the full moon tension, and then additionally the extra tension to Pluto. And that tension is has a Mars, a square has a Mars undertone. Mars also used to be the ruler of Scorpio before Pluto was discovered and acknowledged as its ruler. And so there is a lot of pressure and lots of, can be also lots of anger, lots of need to act on something, right? So, what's the Taurus Scorpio axis again that needs to be acted on? The Taurus side has to do with the beauty, the joy of spring, and all our senses, right? The Scorpio has to do with depth and intimacy and magic, right? Magic of spring. It's out there. It's out there now. It's not out there forever. So, again, impermanence, but no attachment. And so, what do you do about it? And what do you do about that, especially um, with community, with friends? That would be also Aquarius. And maybe building something together, enjoying life in spring together, right? Or even, doing some gardening projects together, doing something that moves the soul together, right? That would be a beautiful outlet for this. And also, it's about, in general, with the moon in Scorpio, diving in and coming through something. Now, also through that process, finding freedom. Why am I saying freedom? Because Jupiter Uranus alignment happened just 2 days ago on the 20th of April, and of course, also feeding into the full moon. So, Jupiter Uranus are here, also in Taurus. Jupiter is now slightly ahead of Uranus. They started a new 13 to 14 year cycle. The last time they were aligned was in 2010, right? Only every 13 and a half, 14 years they come together. It's very special. And both planets have to do with freedom. So the freedom of Jupiter is more like a value. It's more like the notion of freedom, how important freedom and liberty is, right? And also as a something to aspire to, right? Freedom of movement also is Taurus, freedom of understanding something, and understanding brings freedom, right? And we can then expand, we can outgrow a certain condition. Then Uranus freedom is more a breakthrough, it can be quite sudden, while the Jupiterian is more like a journey, right? A journey also to wisdom that sets you free. And the Uranian freedom can be quite spontaneous and can be sudden and can be also shocking, right? You suddenly set free, right? So here you go, you kicked out of a relationship or whatever situation, or there's some disaster happening that all of a sudden is a complete game changer and a paradigm shift, right, for you. And that can be traumatic, of course, right? So accidents also can be a Uranian, right? So anything that the unexpected, right? Expect the unexpected. And we've had a lot of that already since Uranus has been in Taurus, in its sign where it's the least favored, so to say, because Taurus likes stability and consistency and building and reliability, the ground we stand on, our body, the earth, nature, right? All of that that needs that gives us this the positive side of gravity, right? Grounding. While Uranus is unsettling, right? It's very unsettling, ungrounding, erratic, and we've seen a lot of that since 2019. 2018, it already started in the spring, and then fully from 2019 on, Uranus in Taurus till 2026. 7 years typically in a sign. And so, with that, there's been so much disruption. Also, when it comes to values, when it comes to economy, when it comes to stability, in terms of also housing market, right? So, all of that has been super erratic and has to be crazy, so to say. And also, biology has been very much disrupted, nature has been so much disrupted, and now we're having also disruptive technology and the um, biodigital convergence, very much Uranus in Taurus as well. Whatever you think about it, whether you embrace it or whether you're very cautious and hesitant about that, here it is. Then Jupiter, now having passed Uranus for the first time since Uranus has been in Taurus, right? We can now understand all that craziness, what's been going on, outgrow it, hopefully, find better ways that help us again from a Taurus side to bring more stability in, more stability. Jupiter says more is better, right? My Uranus says, oh no, it's gone, and here it is again, right? So a whole different approach, and so Jupiter can help us understand what we value, what we truly value, maybe through this crazy roller coaster. And then Jupiter will soon also go into Gemini. That will be on May 25th. And so for a year and a bit, help us also verbalize, communicate, and learn more, right? About all this, what has happened, and also about where we need to go from here. And so, yes, Jupiter Uranus feeds into the full moon tomorrow, and Uranus is also the ruler of Aquarius, where Pluto is now squaring the full moon axis. The Buddha moon being also a lot about liberation, right? Can you be unconditionally free and breakthroughs into freedom? I said also, and I noticed right after Jupiter Uranus posted that on Facebook, gratitude, Jupiter, right, is really the paradigm shifter, is really a breakthrough. When you come from a place of gratitude, things can really shift. So on a personal level, we can totally contribute that. With Aquarius, it's always about contribution. Then what else is going on this week? So also, Mercury is about to go out of retro direct again. It's been quite the journey with Mercury retrograde, a long one this time in a sign that's pretty quick. Aries, it started on the 1st of April and goes until April 25th. 24 days is kind of a bit on the long side of Mercury retro. It's 3 weeks typically. And so Mercury is sitting in the middle of this whole Aries conglomeration of North Node, Mercury retrograde stationary, Chiron, and Venus. So here it's about, in Aries, it's about assertion, ruled by Mars. It's about warrior energy. It's about something new emerging, and either it comes out of us, right? So something is coming up, and or it is in the world, and then the question is, what do we do about it? And that can, the emergence can go into emergency, in fact, with Aries, because typically you have to act fast, and it's here and now. It's yeah, also it's something that's a precedent, that's the first of its kind, right? So in that regard, a new situation, right? A new situation. We've had a lot of new situations since Chiron. That's the one the planetoid, the celestial body that's the longest in Aries, until 2027, since 2019. And we had a lot of these new situations, these precedents in the whole medical field, which also Chiron rules, right? And at the same time, lots of new alternative, but also very primal, when it comes to plant medicine, for example. New medicine is coming up, and medicine from its origins, right? And we're also looking at the origin of things, the origin of this medical situation that is still rolling out somewhat, right? And so Chiron in Aries also asked us to find out inner intrinsic medicine. What could that be? Just showing up as ourselves, for ourselves, as ourselves, authentically, right? Authenticity, showing up. This is also what I did like last year, decided to just show up for these videos and face it, show my face, and get going and see what happens, rather than procrastinating, delaying, and pondering about it. Capricorn, Libra stuff, right? So, so just do it, says Aries. Be here. Life and this beautiful day is now. Go for it, right? And Venus can help us. Venus with Chiron, um, together, they were together yesterday, to actually be attracted to that energy. Be attracted also to the energy with Mercury retrograde of where it all began, right? The origins, the beginnings. They can inspire us. For me, for example, my immigration to Canada, when I started a new life here, right? That was 24 years ago. And so I've been thinking a lot about that, and how my mind was at the time, how everything was fresh, and I was just starting new things, right? So that can be very inspiring, to go back to origins, and then carry that spirit from Mercury retrograde going direct, carry that spirit forward, and again be in this fresh mode. That's called in the Zen world beginner's mind. Be in the beginner's mind in a positive way. Everything is new and fresh. Approach the world as if you see it for the first time. Is that possible? That would be awesome, right? Or maybe terrifying too. Anyway, rather than coming from this uh, kind of sense of boredom, is basically the opposite, or been there, done that, same old, kind of thing, right? So freshness, that's all very Aries. What else is going on this week? The moon again is, or I should say something about the sun first. Yes, the sun is in early Taurus, which has a Capricorn undertone. The first 10 degrees of Taurus, first decade, has a Capricorn undertone, the undertone of the cardinal sign in that element. And Capricorn and Taurus in combination are a lot about building something that is of value for you. Also, it's about coming from Aries into Taurus. It's about a manifestation, and that's also what Capricorn is a lot after. Manifesting something in integrity, of course, that is in accordance with your values. And also, we are rebuilding strength after the winter season. Now we're coming to central spring already. Then what's with the moon? The moon being in Scorpio for the full moon. The moon is still in Libra today, actually. Today, Monday. On Tuesday, tomorrow at 8:20 a.m., the moon goes into Scorpio and will be in Scorpio until Thursday at 6:37 p.m. Thursday 25th. So the Scorpio moon, especially if you consider it also with me as the astrological Wesak moon, there's a lot of, it's a container to hold a lot of energy to process, right? For emotional processing, mental processing, being okay with diving into something that can feel emotionally dark, dangerous, scary, unpleasant, but also embracing it, basically holding space for it and allowing things to move through you. And with that moving, also again we naturally come out of it at some point, and the invitation for that would be the Sagittarius moon from Thursday evening on. Then we can have a story to tell. We can have an understanding. Again, Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, and we feel better because we did this purge. And it would be, of course, also awesome for a physical spring purge and spring clearing right after the full moon, especially typically with a waning moon phase. Much better to let go, to clear, to process. And the moon will be in Sagittarius then, as I said, from Thursday evening, all day Friday, all day Saturday, until Sunday at 2:37 a.m. So Sagittarius in combination with Taurus is wonderful for outings, for fun, for joy, for doing something that actually, also you are you're going out into nature, especially right, with Taurus and Sagittarius, and anything that gives you again more trust, more hope, and has to do with values. Values is also a common denominator of Sagittarius and Taurus, right? Then the moon goes into so that'll be a lot of fire then, right, in the atmosphere, because Venus is still in Aries. There's a lot going on in Aries. Nothing in Leo at this point, but a Sagittarius moon. Then on Sunday morning, grounding is kicking in with the moon going into Capricorn and being there on Sunday the 28th, Monday the 29th, until Tuesday the 30th, 8:20 a.m. So this whole rest of this Astro News week is with the moon in Capricorn. So again, more integration, more grounding, more actually, again, manifestation, because we're also in the early phase of Taurus with Capricorn undertone. So what are you building? What are you manifesting? What really, again, common sense is also very much Capricorn Taurus, right? So the combination of these two earth signs can bring a lot of grounding, a lot of stability into the picture. And that would be fantastic, of course, also for garden work, right? I believe that's it for this week. Let me just go to my cheat sheet over there on the computer to see whether there's something else I wanted to share with you. And we have, Mars, end of Pisces. Sorry, when it wakes up, it makes that noise. Mars, end of Pisces on the 28th in connection with Neptune. And just before Mars enters Aries on April 29th for quite a few weeks until June the 8th. Then, so basically, Mars Neptune is the last wave of this Mars in Pisces phase that we've had for the last like 6 weeks or so. So, surfing the waves, being, well, also there's Capricorn going on. There's lots of earth and water actually on that 28th, 29th, just before Mars goes into Aries. Actually, it does that already in the morning of the 29th. So the 28th, very earth, very water. So again, being proactively and going for something that we can immerse ourselves in. That is where the Piscean thing. I might actually go across the water on a ferry with a friend, but still a bit uncertain, depending on the weather. And so being on the water, in the water, in the waters of life, in the water of flow, connection, and that would be wonderful for that Mars Neptune connection. It can be also an energy where things can spread, right? So where also aggression spreads, right? And warfare spreads. We don't want that to happen. So how can we raise the vibration together, right? That'd be so important to put a lot of energy into the vibrational field. Mars, Neptune. Then Mars goes into Aries on the 29th. I'll talk about that again next week when it's just fresh. And then Venus will also make a shift on Tuesday, the 30th, into Taurus. Both will be in their own sign. Mars into Aries brings more vigor, more vitality into the energy field. You could have felt actually with Mars in Pisces over the last week, kind of weak, kind of dreamy, kind of, yeah, energy is quite diffuse and not very directed. Can be kind of in a blah mode, even in a sense of like futility, giving up, and drifting along. So all of that ideally much better channeled into vibration that we really enjoy, like music, dance, all of that, meditation, spiritual practice. For all of that, Mars in Pisces is fantastic, right? So this is the last week with that. And that's double Pisces also where Mars is in right now, coming up to Neptune. So consciously embracing that and saying, how can I raise my vibration and contribute something into the field that is loving, joyful, and connected? So that's it for today. I think it's been a long one. Let's see, 32 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Hope you enjoy. Wishing you a beautiful week and many blessings for the astrological Wesak moon that is going on tomorrow.